how to fight with each other. I'll be speaking about what are the do's and don'ts in parenting and how it can be managed. There was somebody who had raised hand. If it is very important, then we can take the question. Otherwise, we can take your question afterwards, is if it is okay. Yeah. Okay. So we'll move ahead and
Please ignore it was by mistake.
okay, okay, no problem. Yeah. So next slide is do's of parenting. Now, the first thing that I have written is feel right and you behave right. It is same with everyone. I mean, it's applicable not only with the kids, it is applicable to the adults as well. If we feel right, we behave right. See, for example, if our parents are coming to visit us in Sweden, so we are very happy. Huh? Even if our husband has come or our wife is coming after a long time, we are meeting each other. We are in a very happy state of mind, and so all our behavior, that day the sabzi that we make will be really tasty. The house will be really clean. We will be top of the world. So what we feel inside is reflected in our behavior, and it is the same for the kids as well. If they feel right, they will behave right. So this one fact we have to, this is the basic of parenting, and if we keep this as our guiding line, then our behavior as well also changes. So the next is respond and not react. Now we all understand the difference between reacting and responding. um, Responding comes when we there is a thought behind it. Hmm? Like if you see that the child has lied to you, if you caught that if you found out that your child has lied with you, and you immediately get angry, you immediately start shouting at him, you immediately probably threaten him, or probably do some take some action or say something which might be harmful for the child. So this is what is reacting. But if you respond, you will try to first cool yourself down, take a deep breath, think about it as to, is that really what has happened? On what basis I have decided that the child has lied with me? On why what could be the factors that my child must have lied with me? Why did he feel that he should lie? Is there something that I have done wrong, or does he feel threatened by me, and that is why he is lying? What is the reason? And then you plan your reaction. This is what is responding. So if you are in the right mind, if you feel right, if you are relaxed, if you are connected with your own self, then you will also have this ability to respond and not to react. Then the third point that I've written is anger management skills. It's Getting angry is absolutely normal. Everybody gets angry, but the intensity and the expression of that anger, that is what changes. So we need to learn our anger management skills. That's one thing. Then again, listen and not hear. So here is, you just okay, you are making rotis, and your child comes and talk something to you, and you say, okay, okay, fine, fine, ha ha, theek hai. Okay, so that is what is hearing. But listening is when you actually look into the child's eyes, you turn towards him, you look at his face, and you give nod. You show that you are interested in what he or she wants to talk with you, and then you actually hear it, listen it, and then comes the responding also. So if you are listening, you will respond. If you are just hearing, you will just react, you will just keep reacting. So these two are very much related with each other. So respond and not react, listen and not hear. This is very, very important. Then the next point comes is manage your stress and anxiety. We are all working, And we all know how much stress. We are all away from our comfort zone, we are all away from our relatives and our loved ones. We are in India, as we all know, we are so much dependent on our maids and all the services that we get, the home delivery, then everything. But here in Sweden it is very difficult. We have to manage everything, right from washing the dishes and all. So our stress level, our anxiety level is definitely high. Then moving to a different land, understanding that the laws of that land is another aspect of it. So we all have gone through this stress and anxiety, but managing it is again very very important if you really want to have a better parenting style. And again, so learning managing your stress and anxiety is extremely again the same thing. Feel right, you will behave right. So if you are anxious, if you are in stress, try not to discipline your child at that time when you are not feeling right. It's because there are chances that you will make mistake, there are chances that you will say something which you really don't want to say. So it's important you should feel right so that you will behave right. Is both the ways, like both the for the parents and for the kids, it's same. Then welcoming home environment, it's very important that the child sh- or or anybody for that matter should feel coming like home. After the school, after job, we should feel like coming home. If that feeling is not there, if you don't feel comfortable at home, then there are chances again the stress level will increase, your anxiety level will increase, and the negativity particularly. So as a parent, it is our responsibility that the home environment of our home environment should be really welcoming. It should be a happy environment. And if the child comes back home and mom is busy with the mobile, or watching TV, or father is just working on computer, nobody is there to say hi to the child or just ask him something, so it's not a very happy environment, and the child will not feel like coming home probably. Especially this happens in teenage. If your child is in teenage, this will we have to be really really conscious about it, that whatever happens, whatever mistake he makes outside, whatever problem that he faces outside, he must come back home, she must come back home. Our home should be the safest place for that child. It is the nest of the child. So if this nest has thorns inside it, the child will not feel safe. So home is the safest place, and how to make it the safest place, that is up to the parents. So it's very important that the child should feel welcoming at home. Then the next point is explain the natural consequences of their behavior. Now, for example, if I tell you, if your child has not studied, what would be the natural consequence of it? Can anybody tell me? If I'll repeat my question. If your child has not studied, so what will be the natural consequence of it? Okay, so the natural consequence will be that the child will not um, get the knowledge, the child will not get good grades, the child will not excel in that subject, the child will have to face some trouble going ahead because his basic concepts will not be clear. Now at a very small age we will not be able to explain all these things to the child, but but we never know, but we have to explain these natural consequences and not the threats. See, if you say that if you don't study today, you will not come out of your house, you will not come out of your room, or if you don't study today, I will not sleep with you, or I will not tell you a story. These are threats. These are not natural consequences of his not studying. Hmm? So we have to explain the natural consequences. If he climbs up, what can happen if he falls down? So that is the natural consequence. Yes, Sneha. Sneha.
Hi, Swapna. Hi,
Yeah.
Swapna. Thank you for this session.
Mm-hmm.
So far, as you asked, what are the consequences? You have answered it also.
Mm-hmm.
But my question, which is also related to this,
Mm-hmm.
that yes, there are consequences, but the problem is sometimes he doesn't understand the consequences
Yeah.
because they are like that. My son is 8. He's in third grade. My
Mm-hmm.
daughter is 15. She is very sincere. She knows what to do, what she wants to achieve, what the aim is. So
Right.
she is following her path very properly. I'm
Yeah.
not very worried about her
Mm-hmm.
since she had studied in India also. So she
Right.
know how the study should be and how should you follow.
Mm-hmm.
But for my son, it's very difficult to convey him, to make him understand how it is important to do your studies at home.
Mm-hmm.
Because in school, the teacher says whatever you study in school is more than enough. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have to study at home most of the
Mm-hmm.
time. He's
Mm-hmm.
going in a public school, so he's in Swedish curriculum.
Okay.
And yeah, the problem is when he have homework, he have some problem.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I may not be very, I don't understand the language very well, so it's very
Right.
difficult for me to, explain him sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So my daughter usually helps him. So
Mm-hmm.
that is my concern. That
Mm-hmm.
since I'm not 100% involved in the studies, he is most of the time he is on his own.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem where arrives is when I'm trying to teach him or my daughter tries to teach him, he starts crying. At
Mm-hmm.
that I really don't know whether this happens to him in school also. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I have to ask his teacher
Yeah.
since I'm having PTM this Monday, so I'll be
Mm-hmm.
asking her that how he behaves in school. If he doesn't understand, does he raise his hand or
Mm-hmm.
he just let go everything?
Okay.
So far his language skills are good, getting good. His Swedish, his English, reading, writing, everything very well. I'm trying to teach him how to write because his
Mm-hmm.
handwriting is little bit not that good. So I can't understand sometimes what he's writing. So
Okay.
I'm trying to, make him convey how to read and write.
Mm.
But that is the problem that he starts crying. So
Mm.
how to deal with that emotional,
Yeah.
uh,
See,
outbreak when,
yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
thank
I
you.
got your question. As I said, feel right. If the child feels right, he will behave right. Okay. So at that moment when he's crying, that means he's not in a condition to understand anything. Whatever you are trying to make him understand, he's in that emotional status. So whenever he's in that status, don't try to convince him. Just leave the subject. Whenever he is in good happy mind, then you start again. I'm not asking you to surrender, or I'm not asking you to give up, but that is not the state when the child will listen to you. It's the same thing like when you are in stress, when you have so many things to do, and your husband or somebody else is asking you to do something else, they are demanding you to do something else, and you are just not in the state to do that. So you will keep reacting, that cycle will go on, wherein you will shout, the child will cry, or you will tell something, the child will not listen. So it's very important that the child is peaceful whenever you want to try to convey something, because their attention span is less, very small. So you also have to, put whatever you want to tell the child, it has to be very short, very specific words. Don't make it don't make it into a lecture. We also have this habit of starting lecture, giving lecture to our kids. So don't do that, because the attention span of the child is very small. So keep it short. Make sure that the child is in his right set of mind, and he's focused, he's not diverted by anything else. And after that only you try to convey that part. I hope that and I'm sure you all will have many questions going ahead, and I hope that this explanation helps you out. And going ahead, you will also, come across many more uh, things. Yeah, one more thing I wanted to tell you all. This is just a small presentation, but on each and every point, actually, there can be a workshop which because these topics are very huge, there are lots of techniques that parenting techniques that can be used and learned. Because of the shortage of time, I am just going ahead, running. I'm actually running. But in between, I will definitely answer your questions. Yeah. So as I said, explain the natural consequences of their behavior. Then the next point can also help you dealing with this, Snehal. The question that you asked to me, the next point can also help you to deal with that situation. That is, plan rewards and withdrawal of rewards beforehand, before the child starts throwing tantrum, before the child starts gets into that negative emotional state. It When the child is quiet and calm and in a happy state of mind, we can plan rewards for the child कि आपने अगर ऐसा किया तो आपको ये रिवॉर्ड मिलेगा, आपने अगर ये नहीं किया तो ये रिवॉर्ड आपको नहीं मिलेगा. We don't use the word punishment. We are not there to punish the child. We are there to just tell the child what is right, what is wrong, what is good for you, what is not good for you. That is what, as a parent, our job is to do, right? So do not use the word punishment. It's that it has a very negative connotation to it. But use the words that you will be giving rewards, like some 10 minutes more of mobile game, or two more stories in the night, or some good food that the child likes. This can be also a reward for the child. And then the withdrawal of the reward. If the desired behavior is not shown by the child, so this reward will be withdrawn. So that can be one strategy to handle the child related issues. Then next is repeat your points in a calm and determined way every time. In short, that is what is called patience. We all keep hearing, keep patience, keep patience. It's very important. Parenting is all about patience. But how to keep that patience? Keeping that patience is basically repeating whatever instructions you want to give, whatever behaviors or the habits that you want to inculcate in the child. So repeat your points in a very calm and at the same time very determined way. Not as a beggar, like, kar lena aaj, please, aaj padhai kar lena. This is begging, राइट. या फिर चल ना स्कूल, तेरे को जाना इम्पोर्टेंट है स्कूल, कैसे तू मिस कर सकता है? नो, दिस इज बेगिंग. वी हैव टू बी काम. You have to go to school. It is important for us. That's all. Repeat it till the child understands it. Every time. If the child does not understand, sometimes we have to let go. Sometimes we have to, say it little loud, but not not losing our control, not losing our calm. I would give you one example. During the COVID time, we were placed in schools. The mother tongue teachers in Sodatale commune, we were placed in schools, and we had been given some other jobs so that we don't have to travel too much around. And so I was in one of the schools, and there was one child who had some kind of diagnosis. And suddenly, I was there in the classroom, and the class teacher had some work. She had to take some exam of the child or something, and so she went for 5 minutes outside. And there were two teachers, but unfortunately that day one of my colleague was not in the school, and I was there. I was looking after the kids. But within that 5 minutes, there was this one particular child who had diagnosis, who started, throwing small things, like a ball, a soft ball, not very hard ball, on his classmates. And when I tried to tell him that, please don't do this, he got very angry. He started throwing things. He started, yeah, he actually threw a chair on the floor, and he actually went into a, what you can say, he got disturbed actually. So and it was a mess, but and I got very scared because of his reaction, because I was new in the school. I had no way to make him understand, or to calm him down. He became quite disturbed. And so after 5 minutes, there was some commotion in the classroom, so the class teacher came back. And to my surprise, this teacher was so calm. She just told the kid. She spoke very calmly, very quietly, and in a very determined way. Of course, she was used to this kind of his behavior, but keeping that patience, not shouting at the child at any cost, telling him what is right, what kind of behavior is right. I was so amazed to see that behavior by that teacher. And I mean, she did not get panic, and I had got panic, for that matter there. So that is how, we as a parent, but of course the teachers are trained for it. She Because she was responsible for that special kid, so she had gone through this training. But even as a parent, we also need to we also need to learn this skill, that if the child is in some emotional state, so he's throwing tantrum, he's kicking, he's throwing things or something like that, we just have to be calm, and we have to be determined, and we should not get into a tantrum, our own emotional tantrum. We should not get angry, we should not get frustrated. That is our job. So this is one way of keeping patience. Then next point is bole taisa chale tachi vandavi paule. I'm sure whoever speak Hindi, sorry, whoever speak Marathi in this group, they understand this proverb, which means that whatever you say, you follow, then the whole world will respect you. Is the same thing with the parenting as well. So if we behave right, the child will have respect for us. The child will have, I mean, we will be the models for that child, the positive models. We also have negative models in front of us when we decide, okay, I'm not going to be like my father, or I'm not going to be like my mother. So these are negative models which we decide. So we always want to have, we always want put ourselves as the positive models of our child. We can't, I'm not using the ideal parent, nowhere. Nobody in the world can be an ideal person or an ideal parent. This, I'm saying this with my experience. But but uh, but we have to be positive models. We can make mistakes, but we have to be positive models as well. So let us go to the don'ts of in parenting. Don't make any promises which you can't keep. It's very, very, very important. Whatever promises you make, see to it that you can follow it. If you can't follow, just do not make that promises. Just say, okay, we will see to it, we'll think about it later. That way. Then don't threaten. We have covered this actually. Don't threaten, beat, scream, verbally or physically abuse your child. So we have covered this point as well. Then don't nag behind the child. Nagging is the worst thing that a parent does. Nagging is, I mean, if you nag behind a child, it is just going to make that child more irritated, more angry. It is not going to give you any results. Telling the child, just stop it there. I mean, give the child some time to respond, give the child some time to think about it. to analyze his alternatives, to take decision. So he also needs some time to react, to respond, not react, respond. So nagging will only create reactions and not responses. So don't so nagging, I would not suggest that you should be nagging behind the child. Then don't try to be a superwoman or a superman. There is this syndrome, superwoman syndrome, wherein you want wherein all the females actually have this, many of them have this, I won't say all of them, that we want to be, to do everything. We want to cook, we want to give best parenting, uh, we want to be good best hosts, we want to be ideal parents, we want to be ideal wives, we want to be ideal um, mothers. So don't it's okay, I mean, you don't need to do that, because that will be um, over a period of time, if that continues, it creates stress, it creates anxiety, and we there are possibilities that we might get into trouble physically as well. We can face some nervous breakdowns because of this attitude. So it's okay to make mistakes, and it is very important that we share our mistakes with our kids. I'm not asking that to a 8 or a 10-year-old child you tell that, okay, I had a boyfriend or I had a girlfriend. I'm not asking you to do that, and that was a mistake. Not to a 8 or 10-year-old child, we can't tell this. But yes, we can tell the child, like, there was a time when I stole a chocolate, and I felt very bad about it afterwards. But this happened. This was the mistake that I made. So the child also, you are opening the doors where the child comes and confides with you. He tells you his own mistakes. He will tell you that, okay, this was the time when I had lied with you. So we are opening doors by sharing mistakes. And the last point in my tips is, don't forget your priorities. Child is the first priority. His health, his well-being, his safety, that is the first. And I'm very sure that you all are here because of that only. Your child is your first priority, and that is why you decided to give 1 hour of your weekend on this workshop. So your child is definitely your priority. But sometimes we do forget it, and we create our own stress, like, by trying to be superwoman or superman. And sometimes we do forget that our child is our priority, his health and everything. So that was my last tip that I wanted to give. And as I told you, I will be conducting workshops on parenting practices over a period of time. And if I do that, I will definitely inform you all. But since today's topic was different, and I wanted, and there was no particular age limit as to which age limit kids I will be talking about, or which parents I'm targeting. So therefore, these are the general uh, tips that a parent of for schooler class or a parent of a college going parent can also follow. So this is for the majority of the parents. I would ask you to give your honest feedback on the WhatsApp group, on the LinkedIn, where I will share some of the snaps of this workshop, email, messenger, whichever platform you find comfortable to use. So I do request you to give your feedback, the topics that you would like to have such kind of workshops on, or some other things which you can. The kind of things that you want to speak about. I thank you, Mr. Tariq Sohail, for his precious time, and for giving us really useful information that he gave us today. And I thank you all of you for attending, and giving your time on a weekday, sorry, weekend. And the response that you gave, it was really overwhelming for me. Now we will have to I will open this floor for any concerns or questions which you have. And Mr. Tariq, you are also welcome to give your perspective, your opinion, and thoughts to whatever questions we get from the participants. Yeah, Tariq.
Yeah, I think that you have taken the all the important things about parenting,
Hmm.
and it's really important that you took up this thing that our parents we have also stress in everyday's life,
Yeah,
and I always want to point out that we have come to another country, leaving our culture, our language, our food, okay,
yeah,
our families, our friends, and this kind of displacement has a trauma, and always we always try to overlook that. We try to uh, play the super guy, okay, in a sense that we feel really good. We just uh, post some photos on the Facebook and saying that we are so happy. But in fact, it's really trauma to leave everything and come to a new country
yeah.
and in adult age, and you have to uh, learn everything from the beginning. And always sometimes we forget that this struggle, and we just think that it's a simple thing, but it's really difficult thing to do that. And the second thing, you talk about the rewards. It's important when you're uh, parenting your child. You have to have some reward always in preparation, and there should be some clear rules in a
Yeah.
family that what you can do, you can't do, and making the rules you can discuss with your child, with your children. What kind of rules? Is it okay that we are going to study on Friday
Hmm.
in the afternoon or in the evening, and
Hmm.
afterward you can watch a film or something like that? We can watch together, okay? And when you're fixing a rules, uh, involve your children, okay? Involve the child, the person you're making a rule with, okay? So I think it's really important. And there was a question about there's a difference between the son and the daughter. I think this is normal thing. People doesn't develop at the same time at the same age, okay? So
Hmm.
it differs. So
Hmm.
maybe that uh, the daughter developed earlier, the boy couldn't, and it's a normal thing. And I think you agree with me that the daughters, females are developed uh, earlier than boys. It's a
Yeah.
normal thing, I think that. And I would say that about the school system in Sweden, we don't have any exams, so we do not want to be worried about exam, but we have to be careful about the knowledge. If she or he gets knowledge, that's important, because when you finish class 9, when you get admitted to the college, you have to have some grades in different subjects. So you don't have to be worried about on other years. And we don't have any system in Sweden that you have to pass every year.
Hmm.
If you don't pass anyway, you will go promoted to the next class. But you have to study. You have to fill in the gaps of the knowledge gap. You have to, but you don't have to stay in the same class. Don't have to repeat a class if you don't want to. You can stay here. You can go to the next class. Class promoted next year,
Yeah.
promoted to the next class. And we have to. I have observed that the children, especially the children of the immigrants' parents, they understand power, where is the power center, and
Hmm.
they understand that if you don't learn the language, they 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 think that the power is in the school or somewhere else.
Hmm.
The the You don't have the power in the family, so you don't think that your parents can guide you properly. Is your maybe your teacher is better than your parents because he or she knows the language, maybe she's from here. So there is always I think, the power fight, or there's a tug of war. Who is the center of the power to guide your children? And you
Hmm.
have to remember it's you, not the school, not the other people, not your neighbor. You have the right and the power to guide your children. And the last thing, I'll not talk too much. I think that the children always try to extend their freedom, and they try every tricks. Okay, so don't be aware of those tricks. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Okay.
would like to add one point to what you said. That we also there is also re-exam policy in the schools. So even if the child fails, there is a possibility that he will be re-examined, and so the child will never fail as such. Then there is another thing that you spoke about, rewards. And so in one of the schools that I go, I have the child only told me that the school, as Mr. Tariq said, that there are some rules that we decide in our house. In the same way, the schools also decide some rules which will be followed, and they are negotiated. So negotiation is one another parenting technique or another disciplining technique that is used or suggested by psychologists, that whenever there has to be some rules and it has to be negotiated. It has to be the kids' suggestions and opinions must be taken into consideration while forming these rules in the house. Then so there is one school who has decided to, if the child is not, this is for high school students, that this rule is there, that if the child misbehaves, if he uses bad language, if he by some way, if he's hurting someone else, verbally, physically, in whatever way, he's doing something bad which is not against the rules. So they give him level 1, then level 2. If the child reaches level 3, then there is, as I told you, planning the reward and withdrawal of the reward. So this is withdrawal of reward, wherein the child has to sit inside a room and um, alone for some amount of time, and he has to do his studies there alone. So that the and of course, it is the alone means it is the room connected to the classroom itself, so the child is actually not alone, is not left on his own. But this, because the kids love to be with other kids, so this really works well with this strategy with the schools, and all the kids are aware that this is the rule, this has been decided, and if I don't do this, then this is the thing, that this is the natural consequence of my behavior, natural consequence, but it is a planned thing, which is a negotiated thing in the classroom. So this is what I will face. So that's one point. Someone else had raised hand. I can't see who has raised hands.
Shuruchi.
Yeah, Suruchi.
Yeah.
Yes, hello everyone, and thank you for this really nice presentation, this session. I just wanted to ask not about the rules, but about the basics or the habits that we need to teach the kids before they go into Foshkola. So, my daughter is supposed to start Foshkola in January, and
Hmm.
right now I'm learning so many things that I should have started doing since she has turned 4 months old. And now I'm panicking. Like, she doesn't know how to eat with her hands because my mother
Hmm.
was here. We were feeding with our own hands, or we have been feeding with spoon. So I don't know how to go about that. So that's just one example.
Yeah.
Are there any other prerequisites that we need to do before she joins for Shkola? Thank you.
See, from my side, I can only tell you, because when I came, my son was old. He was in sixth grade already. So my son never went to for school here, and I know very few people. But so I can't actually give you any comment on this. But this much I know, that the child has to be walking before he starts for school, and my experience is, the child, even if he or she has not learned to eat on his own, they, over a period of time, they start doing that in the school, because they watch each other, and they learn all that. Sneha had raised hand, and her child has been in for school for, I think, 2 3 years now, and yeah, Sneha, will you like to add to this?
Yes, of course. Yes.
Yes, yes.
My daughter has is born here. She has been going to for school for 5 years now, or she started school this year. It's absolutely not necessary that the child needs to walk before going to for school, unless
Okay.
never walked before joining Foshkula. She was
Mhm.
13 months old when she joined.
Okay.
And she did not walk.
Mhm.
Neither did she eat with her hand.
Okay.
I mean, we always gave her food to eat with her hand
Mhm.
by herself. But of course, they cannot eat enough. I mean, to be full with their own hands. So the teachers in the school always help them, the kids in Foshkula, to get food in sufficient quantity in their stomachs, that is enough to sustain, right?
Mm.
And of course, they will offer food to eat with their own hands. Children will learn by themselves.
Yeah.
So, if at home, if you have not started giving food for the child to eat by themselves, please do that. That is very important and necessary. Do not feed the child. Force feeding is also sometimes considered as a threat if it comes to social stereos, and if such a question arises.
Uh-huh.
So please do not force feed the child.
Okay.
Mm,
Yeah, great.
that is the only
Okay.
thing I wanted to add.
Yeah, thank you so much, Neha. And even I
Um,
go to Foshkula and I see kids eating by themselves over a period of time, and they eat wonderfully,
you can say
better than what they eat at home. Whatever they eat, they really eat very nicely. Yeah, Tariq, you had something to add?
I think that my son, my daughter, the first
Uh-huh.
daughter, she started when she was 9 months old. So
Uh-huh.
I think that it's okay if the child can't walk. It's okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, just so feeding by hand, is it like not really good? So I just wanted to know, like I'm talking in the view of social stereotypes. Is it
Uh,
not really good that I feed by hand?
I think that uh, they will have the child takes her food or his food normally, himself or herself. Okay.
Okay.
I think that I think that Sneha has pointed out the good thing that you are not allowed to force it, force feed
Yeah.
someone. Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main thing. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Anyone else want to ask something? You can directly unmute your microphone and ask the question. Okay, so we don't see any hands yet. So then, in that case, we will wrap up here. And if you have any more questions which you might have forgotten, or which you felt like afterwards you felt like asking, you can always write your questions, send it to us, and I'll try my best to answer them. I'm also planning to take workshops, as I told you, based on different parenting practices and other issues. You can subscribe to my channel, which is Tosha Life Coach, where I keep posting different videos on different issues. Right now, I have started with anger management. I have already covered anxiety issues. Very small videos I'm putting, and it is just for helping people. If you have any personal issues which are beyond it, you can always go to the Watson Trollen, and there you can book appointment with the psychologist and psychiatrist, or you can ask for it, or wherever you feel comfortable with. So so it is but yes, if you feel that it is affecting your child, it is very important that you take help. There is nothing wrong in taking help, as we all need help some or the other point in our life. So I wish you all best of luck for your parenting journey, and I thank you, Mr. Tariq, again for being with us and guiding
Thank you for
us.
having me.
Yeah, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Yeah, please give your feedback.